Hi there, welcome to the Google News Initiative Digital Growth Programme. I'm Alistair. I'm a tech trainer and technology journalist. I've been working in magazines and newspapers since my first job in 1987. Yikes. So anyway, I'm going to be your guide for the next 35 minutes or so as we crack through this Google webinar. Now, you may notice there is a live chat window on this page where my capable colleague Louise will be responding to your questions, posting links to useful online tools and resources, and generally keeping me in check. So do please feel free to ask questions in the chat. And at the end, I'll make time for a live Q&A before wrapping up. So we're talking 40 minutes maximum for the whole session. So I think we can get going. So this webinar focuses on data-driven content. It's part of the data management workshop. Here's a drone's eye view of the whole program. Here we are in the orange panel in the middle, and second one down, data-driven content. Now, other modules, other workshops in the different colors here in the program, you can see cover all sorts of things, such as exploring new ways of building a digital publishing business strategy, developing and engaging your digital audience, earning revenue from ads, earning revenue from readers. Anyway, first, let me be clear about what we're going to cover and what we're not going to do. It's not our job to tell you your business. Digital publishing is complex. You're the experts in your field. Nobody's going to understand your challenges, your audience, and your resources better than you. Now, you may be here as a small publisher, small emerging publisher. You could already be a medium-sized organization. For all I know, you could be coming from a large established publisher looking to fill gaps in your existing digital strategy. Whoever you are, the idea is we're just here to show you case studies, options, tasks, further resources. So what have other publishers done to drive up readership and revenues? For example, what tools are they using? Can you use them too? What new technologies could we be looking out for? So the idea is we present that. What actions and next steps you decide to take will depend on your needs, experiences, and aims. So what's all this about? Well, data-driven insights there could help engage your readers. So data can help publishers to create content their audiences want to read. That's what we're going to go into. So the three-pronged agenda for today, we're going to look at these three main topics. We're going to look at search and demand, so we can find out what people are searching for and why and how and what that means. Then we'll take a step sideways and look at ways in which our readers might want to personalize their news, either through automated systems or manual custom personalization and what that means. And then we'll finish off by looking at a variety of other ways of identifying trends and getting useful readership data from beyond the data that we're getting from our own website, so open source data perhaps. So let's start with the first one, search and demand. Now, searches, obviously happening every day, every second, across Google, other search engines. Search is a question. And the people searching and looking for answers, this becomes an opportunity. Now, keywords underpin the search. So what are keywords? Keywords, they can be words. More typically, they are phrases that are used to match your content with the terms that people are searching for. So it's what people type into Google search, for example. So when we use the term keyword, it suggests a single word, but actually it's not just one word, but a group of words, or the so-called long tail keywords that's sometimes referred to. Now, a good knowledge of keywords can help you choose ways of to optimize your content. Anyway, this is what we're going to look at now. So as the term implies, keyword search volume refers to the volume or number of searches for a particular keyword in a given time frame. So that you're seeing the demand for a keyword using this tool. Now, keyword search volumes typically averaged over a set time frame. That way it provides you with a general idea of a search term's competitiveness and overall volume at the time. Now, it's often contextualized within the time frames, so you can see how it affects traffic over time. Now, you might have used something called Google's Keyword Planner. Now, it is free. It's part of the Google Ads interface, and it's an easy way of conducting simple keyword research. It's a great tool, actually. It offers a range of useful data, particularly if you're on a campaign. Now, just want to point this out. Recent changes to the Google Ads interface means the full keyword planner is only available to you while you're running an active ad campaign. If you're not, it's still there, but you'll just see a simplified, kind of truncated version of the data. You won't see the graphs and visual representations, but it is still there. Go look for it. Anyway, it's part of kind of not tracking, but kind of finding out what people are typing into Google when they run a search. It's not just tracking what they're looking for, but also trying to get an idea of what they're probably not looking for. So this is, if you excuse me, kind of a mini case study. There's a Swedish newspaper, Dagens Nyheter. It tried to identify the kind of stories, not that people are reading, but the stories people are not reading. So Martin Johnson, head of editorial development there, actually had a quote, and he said, look, we realized from using copy, typical news copy, breaking news copy, headline news from AP, Reuters, and so on, didn't work for us. People didn't come to us in search for headline news. They came for deep dives, not quick summaries. So what that newspaper did, Dagens Nyheter, is they cut the number of articles it was publishing by a good 15%. The result was they managed to increase traffic. So making sure it focused on the right stories. So this idea of, track what's not working and stop it. Stop doing stuff. Less is more can work. Another thing that can help on this is learning from mistakes, if you like. So A/B test and learn. You'll be aware of A/B testing. Classic days of print ads, you would run two different versions of an ads, one in the north, one in the south, one in Scotland, one in Wales. And then judging by the response from those ads, you could work out which ad performed the best. Well, we can do this now more easily digitally. And of course, we can do it for editorial as well as ads. So running a simple and straightforward A/B split test can help enormously. The idea is to identify specific page variables, if you like, that result in the best results for your audience. And then you can learn from that and replicate it across your site. It's not just for one-off campaigns anymore. It's something you might want to think about doing continuously as an ongoing process. So engender a culture of A/B, test and learn all the time. And to that end, Google Analytics, if you're using GA, comes with an experiments feature that allows you to compare different page variations, split traffic to them accordingly, get email updates on how the results are trending and whether or not you're hitting your defined objectives. And we'll be looking at experiments in a later session. Do look out for that. Anyway, with that as a basis, let's turn to our second topic. Is if the data's there and we're trying to find out what people are searching for, and we're getting their information from our readers and what they want and what they don't want, can we then personalize what we deliver to them? So if we say, yeah, one size does not fit all, can we get the right stuff to the right people? So we've found that over the recent years, the number of times people type a search into Google and add the words "for me," so, cinema for me, restaurant for me, or near me, it all becomes very personal. It shows that there is an increasing desire for personalized content and experiences. So what is content personalization? What can it be? So there's going to be a very top level introduction Hope you don't mind. So there is a long definition. I won't read it to you because you can see the short definition up here straight away. So it's basically a user to system interactivity. So you use technology to adapt the content and delivery and arrangement of your communication to individual users, readers, basically, who are explicitly registered themselves or implicitly offer you determined preferences. So an example could be a highly targeted call to action. So, whatever, get him to sign up for a newsletter or something. So another could be a revolving landing page that gives you different content based on geolocation or an industry-specific segment. So think of it as a user experience shortcut that connects your audience with the information it needs more quickly, and then hopefully enhancing the chance of converting that lead. Anyway, that's the top level. What's going on behind the scenes of content personalization? Well, it's an issue, or it's a matter of combining data into a single view of your customer. So you have data insight. So increased data enables you as publishers to build a better, if you like, holistic view, I think the word is used on this slide, of your readers that you can then use across the organization. But to get there, you can combine data sources, so you can separate business systems or something of the past. Combining readership data into one accessible place, publishers can are more likely to be able to the right content to the right reader in the right format. And then, of course, you have your data analytics. So once all the data is collated, you can really start to understand what your audience looks like. And this should help you identify that ideal reader, as opposed to, and those who are most likely to subscribe to their offering. Anyway, there's more to it than that. Let's move on. Let's look at an example. So Solder by MIT Media. So MIT Media created this tool. It calls it the Solder Personalization Service, SPS. The idea is to monetize its paid content business by helping editorial products distribute the right content to the right reader at the right time, in the right context, all those things we've talked about already. The idea is to increase engagement, loyalty, boost conversion and retention. So it's a data service that uses available user interaction and content data, applies a bit of machine learning, so some genuine automation here, which then enables the creation of individually personalized content that, in a proven value chain, should or could convert new paying customers and lower the churn rate. That's the principle. That's the idea, what we're after. Now, we can push this even further. Going further, what other data could you use to personalize your product for readers? Well, it can involve a lot more than just trying to anticipate what readers like by analyzing topics in their on-site browsing history. Advanced personalized recommendation can also take into account other signals, and you can see them listed here. The type of story they're like, long, short, informative, interviews, or whatever. Places that matter, so based on postcode and GPS and who knows what. The time they spend scrolling, tolerance for older news, personal interests. Anyway, I'm not going to just read them out because they're already there and you can read them already. So it would then automate bringing in and using and interpreting that data to generate new content opportunities. Let's have a look at how some publishers are putting this into practice. So automated content personalization. So here we've got Tamedia. So it's based in Zurich. It's a news organization. It introduced a personalized recommendation algorithm they call Flint. And for them, it's worked. It's been proven. It's a proven success. It delivered a click-through rate 2.5 times higher than with just straightforward recommendation engines designed for a general audience, so specifically for theirs. There's another Swiss newspaper, so Neue Zürcher Zeitung, I'll get that right, so New Journal of Zurich. They implemented quite a big personalized recommendation engine, quite an ambitious project they call NZZ Companion. And what that does is it tries to find this balance between predicting what readers will be interested in and the relevance of each story to the individual, as determined by editors. It's not all completely done by robot. It's the balancing act that's automated. Yet another case study we should consider, Astro. It's a leading Malaysian media organization. It also opted for an advanced, personalized approach to content. And without going into all the details of how they implemented that, but it was very much kind of automated as well. They saw, you can see the number here, 258% increase in article click-through rate by giving that extra value to readers landing and getting the right kind of material that readers felt relevant to them, whoever they were. Now, I'll just finish on this one. It's not quite a case study, but there is a project known as the Content Personalisation Network. Now, it's a project that aims to build a trustworthy approach to personalised digital content. The idea is to deliver the right information at the right time, in the right context, to the right people. Now, it launched a few years ago as a consortium of media and technical partners across Europe. I think it was Germany, Belgium, Cyprus, Italy, Greece as well, I think. So within about 3 years, they had got quite far down the track towards building an open platform to allow new partners to personalize their user experience. So you should see a link appear in the chat at this point if Louise can go fetch it. Basically, it's a website for the Content Personalization Network. The website has plenty of information about content personalization, of course, and you can test out its prototype news personalization app to see how that works as well. So do check that out if you want more. Anyway, so we go, brilliant, all automated, fantastic. Well, hang on a sec. Should we really hand over all our content personalization to an artificial intelligence and some machine learning algorithms? Well, instead of personalizing the news stream with highly complex algorithms, why not just let your readers take control of their own homepage? It's a simpler approach. It's sometimes known as active personalization. So this is the approach taken by, say, The Guardian on its app. So if you have the Guardian app on a phone, you've registered, you can click on a topic tag and add it to your homepage, and it becomes a new section. And instead of always leading with the same old stuff, world, national, business, feature, sport, at the top, the homepage is just highly customizable and lets the reader choose. So, and it goes a little bit further than that, because then if there are further subtopics that they're interested in, those can be pulled out. So for example, if someone's deeply interested in public health, who knows? For example, could create a custom section, health policy or NHS, and that would allow relevant articles to bubble to the surface on the homepage when otherwise they might be kind of hidden several levels deep and never found, certainly in the uncustomized app. Now, the BBC News website has a similar feature, and I'm sure you've seen others. Now, just bear in mind, in the red text on this slide, as you can see, the downside of all this is that active personalization relies on the fact that the reader knows what to do, or what you expect them to do is simple. So do they understand they can customize their homepage and how easy it is? If you need to give them lots of tutorials on it, there's a problem. You might have to think about redesigning it. But that's the drawback. If they don't know it's there or can't make it work, they just won't do it. Okay, let's go to our third topic that we're going to look at about, as you see, trends. So to write the content that attracts the right audience in good numbers, we want to use the data to know what people want. What are they reading? What are they looking for? How can we spot the trends and get proactive in our writing? Well, a place we could start is Google Trends. It's a tool, a free one, where you can see how searches change over time. Yeah, so you can see trends on increase or decrease. Straightforward. Google Trends. If Louise can put the link into the chat, that'd be good. If you've not seen Google Trends, there it is. Give it a try. Anyone can give it a go. Let's look at a couple of examples. If you've not tried Google Trends before, it shows the top search queries in Google search across regions and languages and so on. So here example is a trend graph from last year. Look, there was a sudden spike. People in searching for the word news. Show me the news. There was a big spike. Ooh, looks like around March in 2020. What on earth could have spiked people's interest in news at that time? Well, I think we can guess it's the pandemic that should not be named. So we'll just follow this example and see how interest in, okay, I'll use the word COVID, revealed itself in Google Trends. So searches for the term COVID existed, yeah, sure, earlier on in 2020, but the major spike around March coincided with spike of the virus, first spike anyway, and the beginning of lockdowns for many countries, especially in Europe. So it's a rather obvious example, okay, and probably won't seem very surprising, but as a publisher, it's this understanding of how people turn to search that can allow for potential insight into what content, other content, could be in demand within a territory at a certain amount of, within a certain time frame and so on. So here's another one. At exactly the same time as news. Show me news. Tell me information about COVID. And look where there's a spike. People searching for home workouts. So it's the same time period again, but with a slightly less obvious trending topic. Now you can see changes in what content users are seeking out as a result of the lockdowns. So other things that spiked at this time: working from home, recipe ideas, sourdough, gardening, coffee grinding, these all spiked. And, we can learn not just, yes, we know there's interest in news and COVID, but we're also learning what our readers, also other things they would be interested in as a result at this time. Now, taking an example of one major publisher looking at trends, the way things are going and taking advantage. So this was a classic one, Financial Times and its paywall. It's a very strict paywall. You're very lucky to get past it without paying. They hide pretty much everything. But they could see the way things were going in the trends leading up to the 2016 Brexit vote. And for 24 hours leading up to the vote, they raised the shutters on its paywall and basically opened it up, and Financial Times was free for 24 hours, solidly free, completely free. Then, come Brexit vote time, shutters came straight back down again, locked down unless you pay. Did it upset anyone? Well, no, the opposite. They saw a six-fold surge in digital subscription sales afterwards, that weekend. So, what if we want to have a look at some opportunities to get data that's outside the realm that we're gathering ourselves? So yeah, we've got our Google Analytics. We're issuing surveys from our readers and so on. We find out information from them, but can we find other sources of data like Google Trends that let us know what other potential readers are interested in? Well, we could be turning towards open source data, just like journalists do for their stories. So open source data, it's large data sets analyzed by computer to reveal patterns, trends, associations, especially human behavior and interactions. So treat it as a kind of, from a journalistic point of view, how to get stories. So any company, especially the big ones, will be issuing data and from which something can be some stories, but also information on what's popular, what's not popular. It's like another way of looking at trends can be found. Now, there are a lot of public open source data sets available, especially in the Western world, so in Europe and North America. So you've got all the governments, so US government for sure, data.gov. You've got the US Census Bureau, but also European Union operates its own open data portal, as does the UK government. So data.gov.uk, I'm sure we've all been there for one thing or another. They have data sets available. There's even that you can visit the CIA and look at their World Fact Book. And there's health data all around the world, NHS data, Amazon Web Services shares some of its, Facebook shares some of its, and so on and so on and so forth. It's out there waiting to be found and analyzed. So you're going, yeah, definitely wanted to have some of that. What can I do to get there? How are you going to gain insight from this open source data? How can you put it to use yourself? Well, the suggestion is that think like a journalist, and you will personalize what it is you're looking for. And you may well get better results from these kind of nebulous seeming open data sources. So this is the 3 data principles. It's a 3-step roadmap that's often recommended for looking at open source data from a journalist point of view. What would a journalist want from data? So 1, don't kind of go, ooh, there's a data set. Let's look at the numbers and see if anything jumps out at me. They do the opposite. They start with questions. So they already know what they want to ask, access an appropriate data set and see if they can find answers. The answer might be no, but then they will have learned something. So you use your journalistic talents here. Ask questions that are more likely to yield open source answers. Then step 2, don't think of, oh, let's get an open source insight. Think, what story can I write from these answered questions? Just like a journalist would. Is it actually noteworthy? Could I extract some insight and write it as a news headline? And that kind of helps formulate, encapsulate what it is you're trying to find out. And step 3, just a little reminder, really, it's the results that matter, not the tools. So in this, in this age of lots of analytic solutions and user-friendly open source tools, there's plenty to use. Much of it is free. Variety of open source data analytics options. It doesn't matter what you use. And don't be scared of just, oh, I'm just using Excel or something. It's just whatever. Use whatever. Don't get fixated on the tools. You're after the results. Anyway, this 3-pronged, 3-step approach could be the way to go with open source data and picking trends and information that way that could be useful to you. So here's what we've looked at in this session. It's a fairly brief session. So we started off by just skimming the surface of what search is. Search and demand, finding out what readers are potentially interested in terms of trends and so on. Then we turn towards ways of personalizing what our content, the way our news is presented to our readers, using some measure of automation or active personalization to make readers feel that better value is coming from going to your website. And then we turned at the end to look at other areas, other places where we can get information about what interests readers. So, such as open source data sets. Okay, I'm going to just have a little check to see if there are any questions that were raised during this session. I'm not seeing any, so I think that, yeah, so Louise just confirmed there were no special questions on this. So, hey, that keeps us nicely on track for time. So I will just point out that if you do have questions, they occur to you a bit later. Remember, we are going to be coming back later very shortly for a round table. So you can always bring questions to that and present them more directly. Anyway, I shall come back to that in a tick. First, can I just remind you where we are, what we've just done, and some of the other sessions that are available in the workshops as part of the digital growth program we're running. So here we are in the orange panel down in the middle. We're the second one down, data-driven content, part of data management. But having done that, that hopefully has piqued your interest for some of the ways of making money. And if you're interested in making money, you'll be thinking, yeah, can I get data from ads and just follow that and really push that? So we are running several sessions on that, and we've highlighted a couple here, setting up an advertising strategy and optimizing your ad revenue. And then further later on in our sessions, our workshop on reader revenue. So the various reader revenue models that are available to you, based on what you think your readers may be interested in, based on your analysis of the data that's coming back. Now, beyond this, I mentioned this already, very shortly, actually, we're going to meet up again here, but in a Google Meet, where we can speak face-to-face in a round table. So if you've attended this session, maybe the session before as well, both on working with data, we can carry on the discussion, but face-to-face instead of me just talking at you. So do join us for that session where Louise and myself will be available. So you can try and ask us questions, but there will be other people like yourself attending, and maybe there are some stories and insights that we could share between us. So look out for that round table coming up just before lunch. Otherwise, the Google News Initiative Digital Growth Program is running a whole load of lab pages on its site. So by lab, I mean videos, tutorials, resources, tools, other things that will be hopefully of some use to you as a publisher, a digital publisher. So do check the link for the labs. And lastly, you will see a link appearing in the chat window asking you to give us your feedback on this and maybe some other sessions. So please do fill that out. It should be quite quick, won't take long, honest. It's the only way we're going to get better at these sessions. Do let us know. Your feedback is important to us. So on that note, I'm going to wrap up now. So thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully I shall see you very shortly in the round table today. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Take care now.